Hello and welcome, I'm Mystical, this is Mystical Gaming. We're back into Watcher Realms, and this is the Blightcaller's Claw. It's a new artifact that's come out on the Forerunner, so it's not on global yet. Let's get that straight first. Forerunner, not global. Okay, we've got 3 of them, so I've managed to roll it up to 16. That's as far as I can get with it. I could chuck in other things as well, but I don't really have the resources I want to chuck just to get it up to 25. But I did think it would be worth having a play around with it and see what it does and who it works with and that sort of stuff. Yeah. So what does it actually do? So it increases single target damage by 16%. After the basic attack has a 15% chance to trigger a special attack that deals 90% physical damage to one target. This effect can only be triggered 1 time every 4 seconds. So there we go. That's what it actually does. Now, how are we going to test it? So what I've done is I've stripped gear off people so they haven't got any gear. And then what happens is the artifact gives us 227 attack. I'll run around some of my gear, level bits of trash up, and I've got some gear. But now here comes with a set called Attack 1227. So, and that gives us 1,227 attacks. So that's the attack that we would get with the artifact. So I'm then sort of play testing them around to see who it works with and who it doesn't. The idea is that we will put him in with his gear on. That would give us the 1,227 attacks. So we can see here she hits for 4,100 with the extra attack on it. And then when we scroll her through, we can see her next attack does 2,871 damage. That's with the gear on. So we can remove all of that gear now. And then when we swap her over, so gear off, we're going to quit, and then artifact on. We'll have the additional attack that will go on there, and now all we're looking for is whether we get that additional attack damage on there. So that's 16%, whether that comes around again, and we'll just see if that actually triggers. Then what I've done is sort of work my way through the heroes to see which ones it works with and which ones it doesn't. As we see here, 4,100 absolutely doesn't work with her whatsoever. There's a next attack as well, 2,871 doesn't work with her at all. So just a quick check to see whether anything gets lost in translation. We've had things before. So here's another one. She does single target damage, so this should work with her. But she also does this blazing plume where she gets 3 attacks. She puts a blaze on the puts a burning on the boss as well. So we'll scroll down to the plan, we'll find our attack 1227 and we'll fit her up with that. There we go, that's her with the additional attack on it, so we can then see what she actually hits for. So this is what she would hit for, and we are expecting to see her jump in it again afterwards. Now I won't go through all the heroes, we'll give a brief synopsis of which ones do and which ones don't. Most of the ones you expect to work do. So here she goes, 3,992 damage. Nice and easy, but then she's got a couple of other attacks. So here's her other attacks coming in, and then she does the 3, and then we can see the non-crit version hits for 1,901 points of damage, and then we will be able to see that her burning is also hitting the boss as well, and that's also doing some damage as well. So the burn that goes on hits for 761. That's a lot of damage she gets through. So we'll chuck the gear off her and we'll swap her around. So gear comes off, artifact goes on, and it was quite a long-winded system to actually get through all the marksmen I've got to see who it worked on and who it didn't. Like I say, there are some strange ones. Razak it doesn't work on at all. Ivar it does. Lucius it works on. Setram it works on as well. So all the usual suspects you'd expect to see with that single target damage. It still doesn't work on him. So there we go, we've got a rise. We're on 4,630 points of damage now. Here's a next one that hit for, what was it, 1,901. So it now hits for 2,200 and a little bit, and then her burning hit for 761. So there we go, we can now see that she hits for 883. So it's all versions of her attack that are now hitting for that bonus 16% that we're getting on the amulet as well. So on the artifact, sorry. So that is quite nice for her. Now I think where you're going to use it is as the mobs scale up, they get more defense and you need more attacks. So we'll have a little run in a minute on Semram on Apocalypse 2, because that's sort of where we're going to see the biggest gain for this, or where I think you're going to see the biggest gain for this artifact is. So we'll have a little play for that in a minute. But right now, I just want to have a quick look with Hattie. Now, I didn't think it would work with her, but it seems to. So I chucked her into the arena. So let's have a quick look at this. So here's Hattie. Now we're going to chuck the gear on her, so she's got that attack of 1,227 again. So we can strip the team down. We'll put her on, and we'll have a little practice against the drill master. So, like I said, I've sped everything up in the background. I've only pressed stop and pause for the bits where we see the damage and that sort of stuff. So here we go. We can chuck her down, and then we can wait for the mobs to come across. And then, unfortunately, with this, we've got to try and pick a sweet spot where she's not critting everything. So there we go. She hits the first one for 2,049. And then the balance hits for 1,188 points of damage. That's what she does on her normal hits. So this time round, we'll trigger off her ultimate, and we'll see how she does with that. Going through, and then again, it's the same thing with the ultimate, trying to find a sweet spot. There we are, without any crits on there. So 9,424 is what she hits for on those sort of non-crit ultimates. Now it's a bit tricky to see with her. So this is with the amulet on. So we were hitting normally for 2,049 and 1,188. So we chuck her back down again. Now hopefully this will be a lot easier to see because we've got no crit on. We can see that we're hitting for 2,600, 1,500, so that's had an increase as well. I didn't think it would. I thought where she was hitting multiple targets it wouldn't work, but it seems to be working with a bounce. Absolutely certain that it won't work with her ultimate, because her ultimate does actually say it's AoE damage. But when we fire off our ultimate, there we go, we're hitting for 10.5, so it does appear to be working there as well. So whether this stays like that, whether it's something I've done wrong, or whether it's a bug, or whether it gets fixed, I do not know. I didn't expect it to work with her, and I certainly didn't expect it to work with her ultimate, so there we go. It does appear to be. Also, she's fitted in. You can't actually just take the number and then put the 116 on, because she does the damage, the defense reduction as well. So it's a bit trickier to work out, actually see what's going on fully. But my belief is that it does seem to be working. So that's a bonus, and I didn't think it would. So Hattie is quite an oddity. It does seem to be working with her. Yeah. I don't know, didn't think it would, but it does appear to be. Right, on with, let's go and have a look at Semram then, and see how we do with that. So when we come into Apocalypse 2, or Semram Apocalypse 2, one of the things we're trying to do is build up that attack. Now, if you're struggling to build up that attack or that damage, then this is where I think the artifact really comes into its own. So this time around we've got a level 16 Spirit Siphon on him, and this is a team we've gone with. We've gone with a healer to actually keep us alive, we've gone with a tank to take up that big hit, and we've gone with someone to actually take the Death Saw down for us. Now I've taken 2 healers just in case, because I didn't know how it was going to pan out or how much I was going to get hit for, all that sort of stuff. So I took an extra healer just in case. Now the ultimates don't go off on exactly the same time, but they do keep to 9 ultimates in total anyway. So they both, on both runs, there are both 9 ultimates, and we just run the 3 minutes on the first mode, so this Death Saw mode sort of thing here, and we get to see how much damage you can do here. Now the gear remains the same with the exception of the artifact. That's the only thing that would change. Again, like I said, the ultimates go on off in slightly different places. I don't think that affects it greatly with the amount of damage difference that we see, and that's about it really. I think this is where the artifact is aimed at more than anything else. I was surprised by earlier testing on that, who could use it and how it worked. I didn't think it was going to work on Hattie, for example, so I thought that was a bit strange, but there we go. And then as we get towards the end of the run, I don't use the last ultimate that they sort of come up with. So there's one sort of ultimate ready to go just at the end, and I don't use that, I just let it run out. So that's the same on both runs. Okay, now we have a look at the damage. I've got to make sure I don't save it, because otherwise that will go very wrong. There we go. Now he's done 8.5 million. That's how much he's done, and then we're going to swap the artifacts over and see how he goes with the other artifact. That's about Now I've got this pre-recorded and then I've run it back at 2 times speed, so it should run a little bit faster for us. So there he is with the new artifact on. There's the gear that's the same, that's the team that's the same, and it's just a matter of chucking them in and doing pretty much the same again, just to see if there is any major difference. Now, like I said before, I think this is where he's actually going to benefit the most from, because he's in sort of you need more attack. The higher you go towards the end of the game, the more attack that you need to build. To do damage, it's straight up pretty much a defense minus the attack, and then you're adding on your crit damage. So the higher the defense, the more attack you need to actually get some decent attack out, or some decent damage onto the target before you start multiplying up any crit damage on them. There's no point in having a lot of crit damage if you do actually no damage to start with, because a million crit damage times 0 is still 0. So that's why we need the attack, and we have to have that attack on there. So that is, or this is primarily where I think this is going to really show its sort of true colours. I think this is where it's designed to go, along with that proc that it gets as well. It doesn't proc that often, but it's a nice little additional proc as well. It's a bit uncontrollable, but there we go, can't have everything. So this is pretty much the end of the run coming now. Like I said, they both had 9 ultimates used. They both got the same gear on, with the exception of the artifact. That's the only difference. It is both level 16. I don't know how it would fully span out against level 25 Spirit Siphon against level 25 artifact here, so that is a little bit unknown, but maybe next time round we get a few more summons in, we'll actually find out. So this time round though, it is quite significant. I think 700,000 damage is relatively significant. What is it, an extra little under 10%, I think. So yeah, I think it's a good artifact. We'll like to test more of it. We'll like to see it in action, although the issue you're going to have now is, because there's so many, actually getting hold of them, actually running them. So that's going to cause a bit of an issue, but I think it's a good artifact to have. I think this is where it's primarily used for. Tell us what you think. You're looking forward to it? Have you used all your artifacts before the patch goes live? I think the patch is going to come out on about the 8th-ish, isn't it? So if you still got your stuff from the previous Mystery of Artifacts, I'd hold on to them. Other than that, thank you very much for your time. If you can leave me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, it would help me out massively, and I'll see you all in the video again soon. Thanks very much for your time. Cheers. Goodbye.